Psycho realities will make you so disgustingly rich, it's not even fair. And you need to understand that whatever the goal is, a mil a month, 500k a month, 100k a month, 10k a month, 1k a month, I don't really care. It doesn't matter. Whatever the goal is, it already exists. And you may be thinking, well, what the fuck are you talking about? Good question, by the way. You need to ask good questions to get good answers. And the answer is that all realities exist. And to understand this, let me talk to you about the law of energy conservation, which, if you're not aware, is something to do with physics. That's not important, but it states that energy and matter cannot be created or destroyed, only transferred from one form to another. Now, I want you to take a second and look around your personal reality. Look around. It's just energy and matter. Reality in front of you, your circumstances, your outcomes that you have in life, is simply like a representation, a collection of energy and matter. So energy coming from, I guess, light, the sun, matter, this beautiful sparkling water, this beautiful birch house that I'm in, energy and matter, that's all it is. And now if we understand that energy and matter cannot be created or destroyed, reality cannot just be plucked out of thin air, we don't just create a goal, it needs to be transferred. So that's the first paradigm shift you need to understand. But transfer from what? Because right now you may be thinking, well, all I can really observe is my physical reality around you. Well, let me introduce you to psycho realities. So all realities exist either as their physical variation or their potential variation, which exists as psycho realities. So you've got your physical reality, the one you can kind of touch, the one you can kind of see in what we call real life, I guess. This is the one that we can interact with on the day-to-day basis. It's what we call our outcomes, our circumstances, right? And then we've got psycho realities, which is the reality you hold in your mind. It's the one where you see the vision of what you want, the lifestyle, the person you become, where you live, who you're with, what you're doing, how much you make, the business, all of that. The exact specific vision, that reality doesn't exist as its physical equivalent right now. It's rather its mental equivalent. So it's a psychological reality, but it's equally as valid because this can be transferred from its psychological form into its material equivalent. It can be materialized. And that's the paradigm shift. We don't just create things. We don't just destroy old versions of us. We don't destroy old versions of what we have. We transfer it from one form to another. So how, it sounds easy, doesn't it? Let's just transfer the psycho reality into its physical equivalent. It's a simple concept to understand, but it's not easy. This process of this transfer, this transformation even, to understand this, you need to understand what actually dictates what reality you have around you. And we need to look at the chain of what creates your reality. So let's break this down at first principles. What determines what you get, let's say? I'm asking an open-ended question. I mean, what determines what you get in life, your outcomes? What determines that? Well, very specifically, the first end consequence of what you get, or the first order reaction that causes what you get, is action. Action as in your movements, your speech, the mouse clicks, the keystrokes, the whatever. All of that is action. That's the only way we can interact with the physical reality around us, and that's the only way we can change our circumstances. You cannot change your circumstances with anything else but action. Now, I know that sounds somewhat obvious, but I think a lot of people get confused with that. I mean, they're like taking sort of, I guess, the manifestation stuff to the nth degree, and action kind of falls out the window. Don't get me wrong, action is the only thing we have. The only thing. But it's not just action, because there are things upstream of action which dictate action in itself. Action is both a cause and an effect. And what I mean by that is action is a cause on your external reality. So it causes an effect in your outcomes, in your external reality, but it is also an effect in itself, because the way you think and the way you feel, all wrapped together by the way you believe, the beliefs you have. So your state of being referring to your, I guess, cumulative tone of your thoughts and feelings over a given time. It can kind of be referred to like your energy or just your overall vibe. It's kind of more than a mood. You kind of get the idea of what a state of being is. It's how you're thinking and feeling over a given period of time, like a longer period of time. And then that state of being is reinforced with, most importantly, who you believe you are. Your beliefs, the assumptions, the interpretations, the biases, they're all synonyms for each other about the world. And beliefs are simply the meaning you assign to things, what you think about something. So beliefs determine how you think and feel, because thoughts and feelings simply arise through the filter of belief, like an emotion. In a day-to-day example, if I drink, back to this example of this sparkling water, if I take a sip, and I think it tastes good, or I had like a expectation of it tasting good, well, that's a belief. That's something that has formed over experience. And so beliefs dictate how we feel, because then you start to get those feel-good chemicals. Maybe the expectation of it feeling good will dictate the amount of dopamine that I feel before I have it, that expectation of reward. Beliefs determine how we feel. Beliefs determine how we think. Beliefs determine who we are overall, but there's more to it. It's not just beliefs to who we are. So it goes beliefs, our self-concept, who we believe we are fundamentally, down to our state of being, how we think and feel over a given period of time, dictating our actions. Because ultimately, yes, we can make and take deliberate, conscious action. There's no question about that. Like, I can do something outside of who I believe I am for short periods of time. I can take action outside of how I think and feel over a given period of time. But ultimately, you need to understand, it ranges obviously, but it's up to 90% of action you take on a day-to-day basis is unconscious. It's not something you're actively thinking about. And so just look at your body right now. I'm sure your leg is twitching, or arms are moving, or something's going on. You're not even thinking about it. There's so much movement, so much things happening with your body that you're not even thinking about consciously. So the majority of the action you take is determined by who you believe you are and your thoughts and feelings over a given period of time. Now, we can take deliberate action, but if that deliberate action isn't aligned with who we believe we are, our self-concept or our identity or our self-image, and how we think and feel, then it's just going to be a short burst. Imagine your self-concept being like an elastic band. You can run only so far and then you'll snap back to who you believe you are. So these short bursts of action isn't going to work when it comes to transferring the psycho-reality to its physical equivalent. So now that we've broken down what determines reality, we can understand that reality is simply a reflection of an internal cause. Inner equals outer. Who you believe you are equals what you get, because who you believe you are is top of chain, then it goes to think and feeling, and then action. Action is the only way we can interact with our external reality, therefore dictating our outcomes. And so internal equals external. That's the link you have to make, the inextricable link you have to make. Who you are being, fundamentally who you are being as a person, how you think, how you feel, how you act, determines what you get. And so once we understand this, you can say, we don't rise to the level of our goals, our desires. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to live an exceptional life. And yet most won't. Most will live a mediocre life. Most will be broke. Most will be poor. Most people will be fat. Like, it's just the fact of life. Most will be average by definition. Because most people have goals, we can understand that it's not goals or desires that determines how far we make it in life. It's not the goals or the desires which determine if we succeed. So we can realize we don't rise to that level. We fall to the level of simply who we are being. And so it is who we are being that determines which psycho-reality is transferred. Now, I think you'll find that who you are being right now is equal to what you have right now. Those two are equal. So the psycho-reality that you're projecting is the exact same as the physical reality. So if you want to change the reality which you that external reality presents to you, that reflects yourself. You need to change fundamentally who you are being. You need to omnimorphically, omni meaning total, morph meaning transformation, change every node that we've gone through. Action, at the bottom, you deliberately change action. Of course, you need to take actions towards the goal that you want. So you need to take aligned action. You need to have aligned thoughts and feelings during this process. So there are obviously specific techniques and strategies that you can use that are probably outside of the scope of this video, but you need to fundamentally embody the thoughts and feelings of that person for whom the goal would be inevitable. And then you need to look at the beliefs of that person. So you need to paint the picture out. Okay, I have my outcome. Which version of me would it be impossible for me to miss if I was this person? Who achieves this goal easily? What do they believe? What do they think? And what do they feel? And what do they do on a day-to-day basis? That is who you become. You change every single node along this chain of inner that determines what you get outer. And if you change everything all at once, all of the nodes are aligned, you're now swimming downstream. You're no longer trying to fight against who you fundamentally are and who you fundamentally believe you are. And that's how we quite easily transfer what we get. So we hold this psycho reality of whatever it may be. I want to make 100K per month. Okay, who do I need to be? How do I need to think, feel, act, believe? Embody all of those things. And obviously there will be a time lag, but after a while, external reality is simply reflecting who you are being. And that psycho reality will be transmuted into its physical equivalent once you've achieved total omnimorphic alignment, action, thoughts, feelings, beliefs. And it's not much more complicated than that. You know, I see a lot of people get hung up on what's the best business model, the best strategy, the best this, the best that. All of these things change like the seasons. It changes like the weather almost. One thing's on top, then the next thing's on top. This isn't what's going to determine whether you make money in the long term, whether you actually become successful in any endeavor. But let's just stick to business. I mean, business is a mental game. It always has been and always will be. And once you can understand how you properly master the mind to master your business, then you can reach any level of scale that you wish to achieve. But fundamentally, you need to rewire the way you view progress, the way you view a goal, because everything exists, everything within the realms, within the laws of physics, of course, but everything exists if you can conceive it in your mind. This is from Think and Grow Rich, which I can't remember the exact quote, but if you can conceive of it and you believe it, then you can achieve it. Which the book's mediocre, but that's the point. If you can conceive it and actually truly believe that you can achieve it, because if you don't have any belief behind it, well, the beliefs are out of sync, right? You're not aligned. The beliefs are out of sync. That's upstream of everything. It doesn't matter what you think, feel, and act. They're going to be wiped out. It's like swimming upstream. But if you can believe it fundamentally at the top, and you can conceive of it as a psycho reality, then you can achieve it and transmute that psycho reality into its physical equivalent. Because when you are being the person for whom the goal is inevitable for long enough, then it will be inevitable. It's not much more complicated than that.